At the end of the Lelouch of the Resurrection movie, we saw Lelouch choosing to wander off with C2 in a very emotional scene, instead of staying with Nunnally, the person who is the very reason for his existence. We know Nunnally is his reason for living, not only because Lelouch says so several times in the original series, but all the extreme lengths he went to destroy Britannia can only be explained by his strong love for his little sister. This is why some fans feel like the choice Lelouch took at the end of that movie isn't consistent with his character. But what if I told you there was an explanation for why Lelouch took the decision he did, and that it might change the way you look at how that entire scene plays out going forward? What if I told you that Lelouch was in fact under the influence of C2's Geass, and that's why he chose to abandon Nunnally and go off with C2? Yes, I know, this sounds very unlikely. But I ask that you please indulge my theory for a second. In this video, I will explain why I believe this could be the case, and how Sunrise has hinted at this being a possibility with certain revelations in both the Resurrection movie and Rose of the Recapture. But first, I would like to ask you to please like, share, comment, subscribe, and click the notification bell. This is the Geass Network, the place where we discuss, theorize, cover all things Code Geass. If you're a fan of Code Geass, then this is the place to be.
I, Lelouch v. Britannia, command you. Now all of you.
Subscribe now.
Mao, like Lelouch, formed a contract with C2 in exchange for his Geass power, the ability to read minds. But this contract was ultimately broken when it became clear to C2 that Mao would not be able to fulfill his end of the bargain. Mao, having been with C2 since he was a child in the Chinese Federation, eventually grew too dependent on C2, perhaps even obsessed. While the original anime explains Mao's obsession as a crutch born from the burden of his Geass, forever unable to turn off his ability and constantly being assaulted by other people's thoughts. However, Mao isn't an anomaly. C2 is no stranger to being the subject of someone's obsession. In Lelouch of the Rebellion, C2's backstory is explained, including how she got her Geass and what her power actually was. It is revealed that she had the power to make people fall in love with her. But what's most interesting, we also discover in the flashbacks, seen in the original anime, that this power eventually goes out of control, similar to Mao's situation. She could no longer control who falls in love with her, to the point where people start creating religious cults in her honor. For a long time, the idea of Lelouch being affected by C2's ability was never considered. This is because it was established within the law that a code bearer, which C2 is, loses her Geass power upon inheriting their code. But this condition for being a code bearer is retconned, at least to an extent, in the Lelouch of the Resurrection movie. This law contradiction is explained away in the film as a unique case, in which Lelouch was able to retain his Geass power, despite being a code bearer now, because the transference of Charles' code didn't fully work, resulting in Lelouch having a sort of corrupted code. What's interesting though, is that, in the exact same movie where this supposedly unique and rare instance of a corrupt code, is that another code bearer with a corrupt code is also introduced, the film's main antagonist, Princess Shamna. If we have two code bearers with a corrupted code, then the idea of another, existing becomes quite plausible. But I know what you're thinking, if Lelouch was under the influence of C2's Geass power, surely the audience would have picked up on it. And yes, that is a good point, which brings me to Rose of the Recapture. In this spin-off anime, we are introduced to two brothers, Rose and Ash Phoenix. We as the audience go through about 2 episodes, watching both of them interacting without realizing that Ash Phoenix, a main character, is under Sakuya's Geass. It is no coincidence that this specific narrative is introduced in an anime that, for the most part, is a beat-for-beat ripoff of Lelouch of the Rebellion. Not to mention that this was the first project that followed the Resurrection movie. And another hint that Sunrise might repeat the Ash Phoenix-Sakuya plot twist is the fact that Ash Phoenix later falls in love with Sakuya, while still unknowingly under the influence of her Geass power. This may be just a theory, but remember one thing, For a long time, the idea of Lelouch surviving the end of the original anime because of inheriting his father's code was also a theory until Sunrise made it canon in the alternate timeline. But I'm curious what you think of this theory. Comment down below. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and to click the notification bell as well.
I, Lelouch v. Britannia, command you. Now all of you.
Subscribe now.